Speaking of which, we'll call it to order. Okay, since we didn't have an official meeting last month, our last minutes officially are September 6th. We do have a motion to approve those.
A motion to approve. I'll second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Well, I don't have much to report, or at least in my remarks. I'll cover some stuff later. Because I've been goofing off for the last month, so I haven't really done anything.
That's okay.
You should get a trip report.
Yeah, trip report, yeah, picture show. We had a great trip, but it was time to come home.
Sorry.
Sooner or later.
Yeah, no, you either run out of money or you get sick or something happens.
Or checks, right?
Yeah,
I ran out of checks, I must have no money left.
that's right. Okay, we have an office update.
Yes, it's kind of lengthy because we didn't have one last month. We're calling a couple of houses that have been reported for zoning enforcement violations. One on Lake Drive up here, or up that way, on the left. The action was taken because the people had such an overgrowth of trees and vegetation in their yard. I don't know if you've ever noticed.
Yeah, the one that looks like it's, getting swallowed
It
up by
almost
the
looked better
vegetation.
with the vegetation. But anyway, that being said, zoning enforcement did make them trim it. The people next door were concerned.
Yeah, I actually think I saw them when they were trimming it.
Might
There's a
have.
guy out there
Yeah.
and he was looking pretty exhausted.
I'm sure, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the county did anything.
Well, I think, often the county tries to do something, but people don't bother to adhere, follow
Right.
the guidance or the fine that's put on them, and there's not much the county can do until the house is sold. Seriously.
What was I'm curious, what was the violation?
Overgrowth of vegetation. You're not supposed to have your grass more than 12 inches. And
It's a
that
lot,
is just-
I mean, 11 is a lot.
Well, but I mean, this was so much worse than
Yeah,
just
this
grass.
was, yeah, it
This
was
was like, you couldn't see
completely
the house.
abandoned, yeah.
Or you
yeah.
could, but not.
What was the street number? I mean, the house number.
I don't have it in front of me.
Oh, just curious.
Yeah. So then there's also a house on Chestnut.
Oh my God, thank goodness you
Oh.
brought that one up.
Yeah,
The
between.
junkyard?
Yes,
Oh my
yes. And zoning enforcement has sent that to the county attorney to take, for action. I've driven by it a couple of times in the past couple of weeks. It's just getting worse.
Oh, I know.
That's the one that has the hog in it.
Yeah, I know, they do.
Yeah, they like it.
Right.
A hog, a huge hog.
Yeah.
Well, they had it when they lived around on this end, and then when they moved over there, they took it with them.
Talking an animal.
Yeah.
Hog animal,
Not a motorcycle.
Okay, okay.
Well, they have
Not-
plenty
not
of
a little-
motorcycles.
I know, but I knew.
Not a little Vietnamese pot
Yeah.
belly,
Oh,
huh?
No.
So anyway, the county is attempting to do something, but it
Oh,
takes a long, long time
I
for these
can't
things
believe
to
that
happen.
the people that own the houses never went and looked and checked. I can't imagine they would let them do
That was part of the delay too, is the county couldn't find the owner.
Oh,
They couldn't find them, they, had the name and so on, but couldn't get to find them.
Are we allowed to have hogs and
No,
farm
well,
animals?
it's not county, it's not Calvert, where do we go? Drum Point. It's not Drum Point covenants, it's county ordinance. You have to have 3 acres to have a farm animal.
Yeah, that's
And,
all the violations in the ranch code, all the people with chickens.
well, not just there are people in Drum Point with chickens.
I know that I know
And-
people that have them, they say, yeah, we're all in violation.
If nobody complains,
Yeah, just keep quiet. Get the breeze out of
and
it.
if you keep them under control and so on, but if somebody complains to me, then I have to call the county. And I actually had a person call me the other day and ask if she was allowed to have chickens. And I explained all of that, and she said, well, I guess I'm not going to do that then. So, anyway, and then another one on Pilot Way, first house on the right. The owner is in Florida, and the county cannot get service on the owner. And I'm not quite sure what that involves. He said that they've exhausted their options. So I checked into it, I've been checking into it, and there, because it bugs me, there's actually a tax lien on the property right now. Because I wanted to file a claim, so I called Florida, and the cost to file a claim in whatever county it is, I don't remember, is $185. Plus, they only do sheriff delivery versus certified mail. So that's an additional $40 just to file a claim. I always try to look at these different ones and see, well, what are my chances of actually collecting, or am I just adding more money to the whole thing?
Mhm.
So my initial thought was to ask if you think I should pursue this.
Well, what's the?
Well,
What's
the
the house
village-
again?
Yeah.
Oh, first house on the right, it is such a bad mess. There's 2 cars in the carport that I'm told are just basically destroyed. People have gone in, there's just like beer cans down the stairway. I imagine kids probably party in there. It's an abandoned house. It's my understanding that the man who owns it does not have a mortgage. He inherited some money, this is what I'm being told.
Yeah.
So he paid it off, he doesn't care about it anymore. I have put at least 2 people, I think 3, in touch with him because I have his cell phone number, asking him if he wanted to sell it, and they would flip it. He's not been interested, but when I found out there's a tax lien, I called Larry Rich because he flips houses, and he's already talked to the guy before. So anyway, Larry was going to call him again, and it's Larry's understanding that the guy he just wants to get rid of it at this point. So I'm hoping that Larry can persuade him to sell it to him.
Well, how much does he owe us?
Well over 1,000. I don't remember, maybe 1,500 by now. Because I had filed a claim on him some time ago, not knowing, not realizing he didn't live there anymore. So that was kind of a waste of money. And then it took a while, and I found out, oh, no, he's in Florida. And then it took a little while longer. A woman that used to work with him, who used to live here at Drum Point, she's the one that gave me the cell phone number. Anyway.
But what's the zoning violation that they're after right now
I
on?
think it's just unlawful accumulation of trash would probably be the exact
His
wording.
yard, you know. is
His
that
yard, but it's
also-
also, yeah.
I don't know, I'm just.
Yeah, I know.
speculating.
I haven't, it's not a through street, it's not one that you would go down just going anywhere. But it's the first house on the right on Pilot, which is the first house, or the first street when you come in on Beretta, on the right. So, we'll see what happens with that one.
Well, it might be worth seeing if Amber could give us an opinion
Okay,
on going after something in Florida.
okay.
Yeah.
And who's Amber?
The lawyer that.
Yeah.
Amber
Our new
Ryan.
law-
The attorney we have on retainer.
Not the, okay, that's, okay, from earlier, you got rid of the old one, is that right? It's a new one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have we ever given her any money?
She's not ever billed us, but we,
I know.
I think we've only ever asked her
Well, you have these
2
questions
different
about.
emails,
Yeah.
questions, and the second one she's not responded to again. She takes a little while, as you know, she's
Oh, I
busy.
know.
And I think because she takes a while and, oh, that's right, sorry, kind of a thing, maybe she feels like she shouldn't bill us. I don't know, but so far we've not gotten a bill. But I'll make a note to do that. I have filed claims on others, and maybe 8 or 10, I think, claims in the past month. One person, which I knew he would do this, has filed the intent to defend. And he's an elderly gentleman, but he is, in his working life, was an attorney. So, you know, I imagine he knows how to defend his claim. He claims he's defending it because he does not owe us the money. Which isn't true.
How much money does he owe us?
Between 3 lots, about, I want to say $1,500 and some odd dollars. Yeah.
And what's his defense? He doesn't know because,
He doesn't owe, and this is a gentleman we talked about earlier. He's the one that told me after a 45-minute conversation, he wants to talk with Mike, so we can have an intelligent
Okay.
conversation. I hesitate to name names. I know, I'm like, I think I'm insulted.
I know I'm insulted.
But anyway, yeah, so we've talked about it.
he's a class guy.
His claims aren't, or his lots don't perk, you know, you can't build on them. And of course, it's not our fault that you can't build on them, those are county regs, restrictions and so on septics and so on, not us.
So
Sorry,
he's
you
mad
still
at you,
have.
Rita.
He's still mad, he's
He's
mad
mad
at
at
me.
Rita.
So I said to Mike, you gotta be in town because I think I'm gonna need some backup on this one.
Yeah.
Somebody
Oh my
intelligent.
gosh.
Yeah.
So there's that.
What about this house back here on Beretta that when I drove past a few weeks ago, 2 police officers were standing there. I think they must have evicted the ones with the pit bulls, and the fence that's on the side that's all broken in and busted out.
Is it at the
windows and
corner
stuff.
of Beretta and maybe McMichael's
It's
on the right?
in,
Because that one they did leave and they are, the woman is
Well,
aware of it and.
well, no, I
I
don't
don't
think
know
it's
if
on,
it's that
it's
one.
not on the corner. It's like maybe one down from the corner, but I think they were evicted. I was just wondering, nothing's been done with the house, so.
Well, I don't know. I don't get notifications of those kinds of things unless a neighbor, talks to me about it or something. We talked this past year about updating our access database, and we budgeted 4,000 and so on. I actually got thinking about it. I had Doug Donegan came in and talked to me because he's got some experience with access. And he's a property owner here, if anybody doesn't know him. And we looked at it, and he said, yeah, you definitely want to do something. He was going to get in touch with somebody he thought might be able to help us for somewhat of a better price and so on. But I got thinking about it, and I looked at QuickBooks again, and I can do it in QuickBooks.
Uh-huh.
I can do a batch invoicing, which I didn't really realize. And maybe 6 years ago when we went to Access, or 8 years ago, maybe it wasn't available in this version, because I called Intuit, who makes QuickBooks, and I talked to the man there, and he said that, yeah, you can do batch invoicing, but you'll have to upgrade your QuickBooks version, which was going to be pretty pricey. You buy the upgraded version, and then it's like $2,000 a year for them to support it. Yes.
Which version?
Well, it's, I don't know, it wasn't the desktop, it's an online version, I'm not
You
sure.
don't want the online version.
No, I don't want it, I hope they're not gonna make us all go to that, I want my desktop version.
Online version is a piece of crap.
Well, yes, I don't know, but
It
yes,
is.
I wish they would stop pushing us all to that.
I tried it.
Did you? Well, I hope they keep making the desktop updates. But anyway, so maybe 6 or 8 years ago, desktop did not have this ability. But after I talked with them, I thought, I wonder. And like, oh look, there it is, batch invoicing. So I'm in the process, I played with it and made sure, did a lot of different scenarios and so on. And I'm doing it by hand, entering all the property owners. Because you have to have all their, not just their contact information and so on, but their lot block and section. Is it a developed lot? Is it a non-developed lot? And then it goes into its own group, and that way you can do the batch invoicing that way. So it took me a while to figure it out. But anyway, I don't think we're going to have to spend that $4,000. So that was happy.
Well, but I guess you need to find out what's the deal with the 2,000 for QuickBooks.
It's, I don't remember now what he told me, why it is, you purchase it, but then there's a monthly fee.
So in 2 years,
For
we're
what?
better off.
For invoicing or what?
No, not for invoicing, because I would still do it all. It was
Just the licensing, you're saying?
maybe the licensing.
Okay, what
thank
they've
you.
done is they've gone, you used to be able to buy the desktop version and keep it as long as you wanted.
Right.
But after 3 years, they would stop supporting
Right.
stuff,
And you
okay?
do have to upgrade every 3 years.
Well, but no, now what they've done is they've gone to subscription service, like Microsoft and other companies. So now you have to upgrade it every year with a subscription.
Maybe that's the subscription.
But it's
price.
about, it's on the order of say 400 to 500.
I think what he was trying to sell me maybe was an accountant's version. I don't know, I don't
Well,
remember.
yeah, you need to find out.
I do not
because,
remember. Well,
I mean,
we're
they
not
do
going to
have
do it.
add-ons for things like payroll and
Right,
stuff like that, and maybe there's an
Right.
add-on.
but I don't
for
need
this.
it, but I don't need the add-on.
Well, I don't know, I mean,
I
if
know.
it's already in there, I
It's
would
already
say
in
you
there.
don't have, you would.
He said, I'll call, because we were gonna have a board meeting that night, and it was canceled, because we didn't have quorum. So he said, I'll call you back tomorrow. So he called me, I waited for him to call, and I explained, well, actually, the version I have does batch invoicing. And he said, oh, I didn't know that. So,
No, it's-
I
yeah,
don't know.
they've been arguing.
yeah, so I was very pleased, and I'm quite sure it's gonna work out very, very well.
Mhm.
So all those little glitches with access should not, well, they won't be a problem anymore.
Well, yeah, it's,
Yeah.
access is gonna
Yeah.
kind
And I actually also talked to the accountant, our accountant, and he gave me some suggestions about how I can, because I'll have to bring in all the accounts that are in arrears, how much they owe. And he suggested not to try to do that year by year by year by year, if they're that far in arrears. But he said, take their total and date it for last year, end of February or something like that, I have it written down. He said, and then, you know, assess your new invoices for this year. He said, but you'll still have, and I will, I'll still have my access to be able to go back to get all the different years that were assessed to these people. If you know, if I want to file a claim and so on, I'll be able to show the progression of the fees. So I'm excited. I mean, it's a pain in the neck entering all that, but it will be so worth it.
of, yeah.
So, okay. I sent that letter to Sheriff Evans. Anybody that was at the membership meeting in September remembers the complaints about speeders here and the little lake place, that whole thing. I've not had a response yet. And I also followed up with, because I hadn't had a response last week, so I sent an email to Tim Buckmaster, who does when we have extra security at the beach. He's the one that oversees that. So I knew he'd respond, and he did, just like that. But he gave me 2 other names, and I sent them the email asking the questions, you know, can we post a lower speed limit? Will you enforce it? Things like that. Haven't heard anything back from them. Got the quarterly report, or the reimbursement for special tax district operations and maintenance money. I bill that every quarter if we have those fees or expenses. $4,189.53 from special tax district money. General membership meeting, December 17th. It's a Saturday morning. And just today, I had a call from a woman who lives, I think, on Ottawa. And they are very, very concerned about the footbridge. And I explained that, yes, we're well aware about it being clogged. Right now, we're in the process of getting permitting and worrying about the community beach and so on. But she said that the odor and the smell of that being backed up is getting to be, for their properties that are behind where that would be, and the mosquito problem is a huge issue. And I said, well, the board isn't prepared to look at it right now, because we are doing the community beach, and we're about through permitting and so on. Perhaps we would take it up, actually dredging it and cleaning it out and getting proper permitting. Is that something you would want to consider? Not now, but.
Yeah, I think so,
for next
yeah,
year.
down the line. And the other thing that happens there is people throw trash in there. It's like anytime there's any
Yeah, I don't know how you can stop
mess,
people
that
from
people
doing
just add
stuff.
on to it.
Yeah,
It's-
I know. And I explained how that storm, when it came through last year, really pushed sand up into that area, which really just exacerbated the problem.
Yeah.
It's always been an issue,
Yeah.
but it's so much worse now than it was. So is it something we might want to take up next year?
Yeah,
As we're
probably.
kind of more through this community beach?
Can I ask a question? Is the footbridge you're talking about the one on Third?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think it would be worth looking into, you know, after we finish the
Okay.
community.
So he throws trash where there's already trash? Is that-
Well, it's backed up, so the water pool's there, and then it's supposed to flow back out to the bay,
But it
but it doesn't. And so it is pretty bad with mosquitoes and stuff, and on top of that, people throw trash in there.
Do you throw your trash up the street at that one house in the corner?
No.
But I was gonna ask Maria about
I drive
that.
by that all the time,
Do you throw your trash there?
constantly.
Because somebody must be doing it, because there's a lot of trash there, so.
You're talking about the
One of the
corner of
two.
Bayview and Laurel.
I
Is that what
think
you're talking
I
about?
think that must be it. It's right down the street from her.
Yeah, well,
Asha goes up and she throws her, I see her.
Yeah, I see her all the time.
I think
But
I wanna
anyway,
clean it up.
yeah, because I've had the woman that lives across from her on Laurel,
Yeah,
Jane Heidemann,
yeah.
Jane Gordon came in, and I knew what she was gonna,
Yeah.
several weeks ago, and I said, I know what you're gonna tell me about, Jane.
Yeah,
So I have it on my list and I haven't called her, but I'm gonna call the woman that owns that, because if you recall, she was having an issue with her insurance company
Right.
Right.
doing what she felt needed to be
our
done.
neighbors are gonna really be sympathetic with her. You know, would it be possible that, we just go over there, or I actually looked at it, I like to throw all that crap in the back of this truck I have. Is that allowed? Because they obviously don't care.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like they
been
just
months.
left it there and it's gone.
It's
Like,
just,
the-
it's
Yeah.
really just, I'm
Oh,
glad
I
I don't
know.
know them. so
In fact,
I
Eric
don't-
almost,
I don't wanna
like,
know.
I told Eric, don't touch it, because we had this wedding, and so we had like,
People coming through.
yeah, everybody from
Oh.
California, you know, it's the first time they're coming to
Where do you
our
live?
neighborhood, and, you know, and they were kind of appalled, and I
Mm-hmm.
said, well, you know, we've contacted the board.
It is weird, it's been months.
Yeah,
I brought it
I mean,
up
it is-
at
yeah,
least
it's
a
been
couple of
months,
months
yeah.
ago. I
Oh,
think back
he's-
then it was, well, they're working with the.
Yeah,
Would
yeah.
the county look at this as a zoning?
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you, because you're talking
in
about
mind,
the other places,
um,
but there really
let-
has
let
been
me-
no progress.
Get in touch with the owner of that place and
Yeah.
see where she is,
Yeah,
and then
Yeah.
zoning,
yeah.
I guess, to ask them
Right.
if they'll take
You
it
know,
on.
oh, you can clean, oh, I know I could clean a lot of that up and, you know, pull the truck up there and throw it all in the back, take it to the dump. But I'm not sure if I'm allowed, and I know I can't do it all, because there's probably gonna
Yeah.
be some stuff I haven't
That
got
you're
close
not
enough
allowed
to it.
to,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know it's there, but
Yeah.
it's just kinda ridiculous.
The last time I talked with her, and it was worse, believe it or not.
Yeah, there was
It
was
Oh my God,
like
I wouldn't even.
rotting trash in that trash can that was.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that, we
That's
smell that
enough
2 blocks away.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
horrendous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we almost called.
I couldn't
the
believe you
health
guys could
department.
walk
We
by
didn't,
that. Yeah.
According to what the woman said, her insurance, USAA insurance company would not pay for a contractor that was in there doing the initial cleanup. She couldn't even get them to pay
That- yeah.
him.
There's,
But that's
I don't
understandable
know.
for the boards and stuff, but like trash that needs to go to the
Oh, I know.
dump is
I
a
know.
It's just not
different,
right, yeah.
a different story, yeah.
I'll see what zoning, but I know she got her mother's truck, she went to Eastern Shore, got her mother's truck, came back out and used her mother's truck to clean up what she could. Maybe she would appreciate somebody saying, I'll help you, I don't know.
yeah, I'm
Can I
glad.
offer
And
that?
I have a junky truck that,
What?
you know, that I
You're
can.
putting junk in it. so-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, it'd be perfect, you know, throw it in there, so, yeah, give her,
Right.
I mean, it could be awkward, but, you know, you would probably call me and say, hey, Mike, this person's gonna, I mean, I don't know if she calls me.
Yeah, I would be the go-to,
Okay.
yeah.
But
And
I'm glad,
Eric, you
I
know,
would
Eric,
gladly help,
if Eric can help, he can, yeah, if he's available,
Okay.
he could help, because he's,
because he feels
He's
bad that you threw all that trash in.
yeah, well,
Yeah, I
he's been
understand.
talking
I
about it,
understand
don't
what Eric
touch it,
says.
it's not our
Yeah.
yard, don't touch it.
Yeah, I don't really know.
You never know,
legally.
Jack.
Yeah, I don't know either, that's why I didn't want to mess with it, but.
It will cost some money to dump it off at the dump.
Well, probably, but bill us, I mean, you know, you can pay $10 or
I-
whatever,
yeah,
I'll reimburse
okay.
you if
Okay,
you
but-
need, you know.
I think I'd be a hero in my own household if I did that.
I probably would be. Anyway, so that's it. for the
Okay, well, back
office.
to the footbridge.
Okay,
When I looked at that, my concern was there's really no slope there.
yeah,
So that sand has kind of gotten in there and it, you know, can temporarily block it. Now, if there was a good heavy rain, you know, might help wash some of that out. But I was concerned if you did go in and dredge some of that sand away, that it's still not gonna drain because there's no slope.
but it's never been as bad of a problem as it is now.
Well, yeah, I know.
I mean,
So-
it's always been a little bit, oh gee, let's go in and clean that out
Yeah.
a little, but this is like,
It was also choked with vegetation
Mhm.
in under there, and that may be.
Do we own the property there? That's,
I don't
Yeah,
know,
question.
because the last time,
There's the other
when I was
issue.
looking, because
Mhm.
the man that has the picnic table, she was
Yeah, I
asking
was
me
gonna
about
ask
that
you
too. So I was looking at that whole area, and I clicked, and if you go on the property maps on the county website, they've got great property maps. If you click on that, it actually says Drum Point Project, which I think,
or
no, that's the club.
The club.
And I think that is either they own it, or it's a holdover from, we've talked about this before, how the county land records show that they own that strip, like, along the water, and that's why we didn't get notification right away of the thing on Overlook last year about a fence. So it's probably just that, so I think we probably own it, yes. But it's not really a creek, it's not a stream of water, it was never, to my knowledge, it's just a drainage area is what it is. So what we can't do, I imagine, is go up on those parcels and create drainage. Those are privately owned. I mean, I don't know, it'll be a project trying to get everybody on board with it. Because actually the guy at Soil Conservation told me that the people that have the house right next to that area, Hassan's, that part of that is on their property. I don't know.
Is there any way to get someone to come and just like, not do anything, but just, like, who's official to give you information?
That's what
about
Soil Conservation does.
Okay,
That's what they do.
can they come by, can you get them to come by and see what they suggest? And,
Yeah, but we would have to go through MDE for any permitting.
yeah,
I don't know if we'd have to have somebody like, the people that are doing the beach actually make an observation and do a, I don't think Soil Conservation will give us the engineering of what needs to be done. I don't think, that's not their job.
So,
So,
I don't know, I mean, the question, you're not really, it's not like you're building something there,
No.
like where you need a permit.
right,
right.
All you're doing is clearing out the natural drainage.
right. You still need a permit, because it's in the critical area. That's what he's
It's
like.
kind of cleaning, though. I hear what you're getting at, is that
Yeah,
not really altering anything?
well, but like, let's say there was vegetation back in there that you pulled out and then it began to erode.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well,
I
yeah,
blame Mike for that.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Get them on record. But I mean, I think that's the whole point of needing to get permits. And he said that because 2 years ago, he came, the same guy, he came in to look at that. The vegetation that's there is not what's causing the problem for the woman that lives just sort of up the hill. You know, if you look at the water and you look to your left, up the hill a little bit, she has a real bad flooding problem in her backyard. He said it's not because of that vegetation. So, it's beyond my, I don't know, you know, we have to get somebody in.
What if we just take a little bite at the apple, just to take care of the sand underneath the bridge there?
Well, we
Just to
did
get some
have,
flow. No, because.
after that storm up last year, we did have Carl in out some.
yeah, but then it just filled back in. That's
Filled back in.
my concern, is if we go in there and clean the sand out, it's gonna come right back. And is that really solving the problem? Is there, but,
So maybe there's a solution that we wouldn't know about, that we
well,
would
there
have to
could
have
be.
somebody.
Yeah.
With the engineer from, I can't think who we're working on the beach.
Scott,
Yeah, would he,
no, I don't know, that, I hate to, that's such a minor thing. Let me try to call this gal, this Mel, that, from MDE that's been working with us on that,
okay,
and see if she has any suggestions
Okay.
on how to pursue this.
okay.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask about the, right next to that, where the person off of Surf put their picnic table. That's where the picnic table is, and they put in posts now that, you know, I thought they were supposed to put anything permanent, but the posts are like dug in underneath the ground, and they have a grill and a fence and all this kind of stuff. But that's state property, because the mean high tide goes up.
The county is fully aware of what they have there. They did not, MD did not approve any kind of a pavilion. They said he would have to get engineering in there and figure out how to do anything, and that was beyond his ability, I think monetarily, that's expensive. So he gave up on the idea of the pavilion, but I think Rick Stadler from the county zoning enforcement looked at it and said that, yeah, he has permission to have that picnic table and the grill and that little chicken wire fence that
But
surrounds
I don't
it.
think it's supposed to have anything that's permanent, that's like, you know, dug in under the ground, there are 2 posts there.
But they have looked at it.
Okay.
I mean, they're the ones that said,
Yeah.
and it's in an
because
email,
and
so-
and the tide goes up past, I mean,
oh,
you
I
see the
imagine
line.
one of these days the storm will
Yeah.
come through and probably
Well, yeah,
destroy half
I
of
mean, I know
what's
it's not
there.
really our worry because it's like this would be the states,
Yeah.
but,
well, it depends on where they'd have to determine where the mean high water
yeah, well,
line is.
Eric and I just walked down there and we saw it, so.
Because it shifted, that
you're not talking about the one on,
You know where the footbridge is on Surf? You know, the
If
footbridge.
you go down Surfport, dead ends at the footbridge.
Yeah.
It's on the right.
On the water
Between the road and the water.
Yeah, so it's in the same, so someone put a picnic table, a grill, 2 wooden posts that they got underneath the ground, like stick up, that they've chained everything all together, there's a fence around it. But, it's like in the sand, in the beach area, and the tide does go up past it, because we walked by there with the tide beyond it, at one point.
The county did make him remove that little retaining, not really a wall, but he had like I guess a little wall.
Yeah.
County made him take that out. So, they're aware of it.
Have they looked at it since he did this other stuff?
Yeah, I think they added more.
Did
'Cause I
they
think
add
originally, yeah, I think originally they just
So
had
that
a
wasn't
picnic
there
table.
originally.
Yeah, originally they put down a picnic table, but they've added, these posts that have gone underneath the ground.
is this a state property?
Well, it's on the beach,
On
and
the water.
anything up to
Well-
mid-high tide is,
Again, it depends on where the mean high water line
Yeah.
is. Everything on the water side of the mean high water line belongs to the public.
so they don't have enough property really to build anything, so they wanted to put something there to, I guess, you know,
We should have never bought the rock.
yeah.
Did he ask about a playground too? Oh, no, that didn't come up.
Different family.
Where's that playground? Okay.
That's it.
So you check with the county again on where this new stuff he's put in?
Yeah.
Okay. Any more in office?
No.
Okay. All right, now you get to do roads.
No.
Can you talk some more?
I didn't print,
Lucky.
I am so, Wards Marine gave us the, finally, the updated proposal on the Bay Drive Causeway. And I didn't print it, and I sent it to you, Mike.
Yeah.
I don't remember how much it was going to be, I need to get it. Shall I go grab that?
Can you remember where we stand with that? I thought this was long since
Safety first.
bid.
It was, and then I'm gonna go get the file. It was long since bid, and then prices went up, and
So they-
supplies were not available, and so Mike met with them because they felt like more work was needed. So then I got a proposal for 80 feet, Mike, right? And you
Well, they
said
came,
no.
they had 80 or 85 feet, and originally it was 50, and I went and stepped it off, and it's, what we need is on the order of 50 feet. So we told them to rebid it.
I see. There's a, Bug-Eye Harbor just added our seawall. It's almost finished. It's almost finished. It's a new company, or at least one we haven't used before, so
Oh.
it'd be worth having them. They were pretty cheap. It was like $19,000 for 120 feet of 10 foot into the water.
They're correct.
They're very good.
Oh, you know the company?
Yeah, I've got the information back at home. I'll give it to you.
Give it a read.
They're interested in bidding as well, so they've done a lot of jobs over on your drive.
So the newest is $20,836 to do the repair of the causeway, and also down on the lakeside, down toward Roger Sanguinetti's house.
Is that for the 50 feet or the 80 feet?
That's for 50 feet.
50.
The 85 feet was gonna be $25,336. The
This is
initial,
the original.
yeah, the initial one last year now was 16,600, so it's gone up by about 4,000.
Well, we just had 120 feet, not for 19, so.
Oh,
Well, this, of course, this is a little more involved, because they've got a, it's a high bank, and they've got to remove trees, and they've got to fill that thing in and shore it up,
That's
and,
all what they did over on Deer Drive.
well, let's get a,
I think the company's Birch Marine.
Birch Marine, that's it, yeah.
okay. I've seen their rig.
You have a look, they've done several houses, including by the harbor.
But are those, that's just like standard riprap, shoreline
Yes.
riprap?
I guess, yeah.
Is this about what they did?
I think this, part of the problem is that some of this is the bigger stuff, and,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the creek is probably, and maybe it's just different than the bay, smaller rocks, I suppose.
well, they can use, like, my riprap, you know, they're like this, the stones,
Yeah,
you know, in that order. And the stuff that they're talking about down here is the,
yeah,
and it's,
that could be the
they've
difference.
jacked the price up considerably to get that bigger stuff.
Hmm.
But it still wouldn't hurt to have somebody,
What's the name of the company?
Birch, B-I-R-C-H. Are they part of Birch Roll?
It's B-U-R-C.
it's BIR.
Yeah.
That's just a guy and his wife.
Kind of like warrants. I mean, it's
Maybe
just,
it's
yeah,
some
okay. Can I just
Do you have
take
their
that and
phone or
use that
anything
as
at
of
all?
them. Yeah.
send it to me, or, yeah. I can just take that and use it as my statement of work, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, see, he's basic, this is a proposal from him.
I know.
So I'd be a little hesitant to give them that, and I would want them to look at it and come up with their solution.
Okay, can you meet with them? Or Sal,
Well, we can,
somebody? All right,
yeah, I can,
okay,
because I'm probably more familiar with it than,
right. But if you don't have, I'm reusing files. But if, is it apples to apples if you've got, oh, I don't know, okay,
well, I mean,
I'll ask them to
you
meet
have to
with
see
us.
what they would propose as a solution,
okay,
and whether, you know,
Okay.
whether we think it's a good solution.
yeah,
I mean, we'd have to remove, it still has to remove that tree,
right,
still has to fill in that curve
right,
and tie it into the Kerman riprap, and then end it down where the well rings and our, so we don't need to go all the way down to the big causeway
Mhm.
riprap.
right,
Because we've got, you know, we've got good, good stone structure, good vegetation, the well rings,
okay. And then the opposite side where the lake is,
then the lake, yeah.
okay. All right, do you have a phone number, or do you want to send it to me?
Did you already phone? I just,
That's fine. Oh, you just send it, okay. All right, all right.
so you should have.
All right, so then the other, let's see what else. Well, Mike, you're gonna talk about the stormwater management, or no, where am I? Yes, that's where I am. Real quickly, paving update, and then Mike, if you wanna talk about stormwater management. They started last week with the prep work on this, on the paving. So I don't think they being Great Mills, have actually started paving yet, but they did get the prep work started.
Yeah, we were just up there, Sal and I were up there,
Oh,
and
okay.
they, you know, they've done the cutting on the edge of driveways and on the edge of Anchor and
Right,
Rousby,
okay,
the prep, what they do, the cutting and then the scoring,
okay.
but they hadn't started any paving.
I
That
know.
was, we were there on Monday.
Right, it was Monday, so,
Yeah.
yeah, I know they were delayed, they're doing work on Down Road right now, and I don't know where else. They've been, Great Mills has been pretty tied up, so that was the initial delay. So, all right, and then stormwater.
Okay. I need to go back and review some things. Did we, because Sal and I were having trouble with it. You know, we have this list
Yeah,
of things from Chris,
right,
but we don't have prices on all those. We had like 6 things with prices,
Yeah.
but yet, somehow, I thought we had seen more. I thought he gave us a spreadsheet or something that had initial prices, no?
the
Okay.
spreadsheet is my spreadsheet that I've been
Right.
keeping.
Right,
But no, he's gotten these 5 or 6, and those were the ones that soil conservation had to weigh in on.
okay.
And he has told me that he's working on the other estimates.
Okay.
So, nothing so far.
Well, we looked probably at more than what we had estimates for, but, so we had, there were at least like a half a dozen of these projects that Chris had gotten bids on from
Yes.
somebody. I
Yeah.
don't remember who it was, but,
Somebody out of Charleston.
and I went and looked at some of them right after we got them. And some of them struck me as being ridiculously expensive. Like there were 3 on Perrin Drive that he had all kinds of riprap and grading and all kinds of stuff, and there were 2 of them that were each over $6,000. And I looked at them and I said, there can't be that much work there. And then we looked at a couple others, so we asked Gary if he would, since he's had background in a lot of these, if he would mind just taking a look at it, and he did. And he basically came away with some of the same conclusions, that some of the stuff just looked like it didn't need to be done, or the scope of it was overblown. So Sal and I went and looked at least that half dozen. And we basically, in most cases, agree with Gary. There might be a couple things that we might do a little differently, but for example, the ones on Perrin. One of them is a slope that goes down, and at the end of Perrin, there's basically almost like a catchment basin down there with runoff from the left side of the street coming under the road, and then runoff from the house up the hill coming down into the same area. Well, there's no place for it to go. It's not affecting the guy's house that's there, on that part of the property. It's down below that. So even if, like he was proposing that we put in all kinds of riprap on the uphill side, which we agree, we could clean out the swale a little bit better and cause it to flow a little bit better, clean out the opening to the culvert, but we don't see $6,000 worth of work there. And we don't see the other part of it needing anything at all, because there's nothing you can do. So our thought is we do a little bit of minor work on the uphill swale, just so it flows good. And that would keep any water from getting close to either one of the houses. It will still go down into this lower area. And then monitor it and see, is there anything else that needs to be done? And I don't know what we would do, other than dig a giant, like a drain pit, fill it with rock. But beyond that, I don't know. Then there's a couple others, the one up here on Overlook, where the triangle is. That guy, he's always complaining about something. He complained about vegetation one time and he kind of whatever. But, so his house sits well above the streets all around there. So he's not gonna get any water in his property. The water that he's talking about would be below the house, next to Overlook, and there's a swale in there.
And that ditch that goes
Yeah.
along there, and when it rains a lot, it does back up, but it never overflows into the road.
No, well, in fact, I actually did go there one time when it was just a deluge, and it did actually flow over the road a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, you're not gonna-
like a massive ditch.
There's nothing you can do about that. So whatever water is there is,
And it
first
never
off,
stays
it doesn't stay
It
there.
doesn't stay there.
It eventually seems to seep in and drain okay. If we did anything, like Gary suggested, well, maybe we had to put culverts in underneath the road. Well, if we do that, all we're gonna do is direct water down to somebody else's
That's
property.
Yeah, I know exactly.
So-
Matter worse.
Yeah, so our feeling is there's nothing needed there. It's, it'll take care of itself. And the guy said something about water near his mailbox. Well, there's no water near his mailbox. It's
The
gonna flow
mailbox
away
is
from
not-
there.
It's on the front side
Gotta
of the
go down,
house.
gotta go down the hill.
Yeah, it's on the front side of the house, not,
Yeah.
not where
So
it
yeah,
collects
when
on, yeah.
if it pours down rain, yeah, we all gonna have a little bit
Yeah,
of
that's
water.
what I'm
Is
saying.
there a place to complain about that? Cause I could add my name on that.
Well, me too.
I just reach and pull and just don't, it's okay.
Where are you, where
That
are
was-
you?
Step
that
out
was
follow,
another-
it's okay, and
another
it's once
example,
every whatever, but yeah. Yeah, no biggie.
Another one was over there, well, what's their name? The ones that live kind of across from men.
Oh, Antonopoulos.
Yeah. We agreed a long time ago that, yes, that swale there below his house needs to have some riprap in it, just to break up the flow. And we've just never gotten around to doing it, so yeah, that one needs to be done. There were, let's see.
You want Sal, you want me to just grab
One of these that Chris put down on Mill Creek Drive, he had 12688, well, there is no house at 12688. So I don't know what he's talking about, we have to go look at
That
that.
might be my mistake, because that all comes from my spreadsheet, so I might have had the wrong date on that.
Okay, well, we can
Address.
look, but even if it was the one next to that, we couldn't see where there could be a problem.
Is that one that he'd given an estimate on?
Well, I don't know,
Oh.
that's why I say I don't, I need to start. Bottom line is, Sal wrote up some stuff,
Yeah.
I've got some stuff to add to it. I'll do that, and we'll address these things, and I'll send it out. And then if we can collect all of that data together and
Yeah.
decide where to go.
Yeah.
There- A lot of these do need to have work done, and most of them were reasonable prices and reasonable scope. So, anyway, that's,
So, any of these property owners, like this gentleman that may not, if I can't convey to them what it is you're saying, because sometimes things get lost in translation in my little brain, will you or Sal meet with him?
yeah.
Explain why it is something that
Yeah,
doesn't.
let me take Sal's stuff and I'll add my stuff to it, and then we'll
Okay,
circulate it and
okay.
see where we go from there. I would like to get some of them started, I mean, there are some
I
that,
knew that, yeah.
that weren't worked, but some of them I thought were just dumb.
Okay.
Alright, finance. Now that we've spent all the money,
Actually, we stay in really good shape. Really no news in the budget documents this month. I couldn't find any little nits or anything this time, nothing. So, all
After
looks good.
18 years. Sorry.
Finally found a way to hide from you, huh? Yeah, okay.
did you run a spell check on it?
I didn't do that,
Don't do
yeah.
that.
I just eyeballed it.
Yeah.
No, but it looks good, and there's nothing really to report, no issues.
Okay. Are we getting close to trouble on anything?
You know?
Shouldn't be, just,
We're spot on budget
Yeah.
and almost everything.
okay.
Well, the only thing might be is when, you're gonna talk about paving, is that something,
Well, I've talked about it, they've done a prep work and,
okay?
Yeah.
Since when we have to pay for that, that's gonna be our big,
well, yes, and we'll be paying Chris his percentage too, but that comes from special tax district money.
yeah, so
So-
that's the only thing, I wanted to know if we have a pretty good balance there, so.
We do.
That's it.
Jenny or Bonnie, you have any environmental
I have
report?
something. Shall I go first?
Sure.
I got an email from Mark Smith because I'd asked him if he had anything to say about the Pragmatics treatment. And he said that it's all been treated, and that Lake Terrace is about 99% gone. He meant the Pragmatics there. And all the other sites are better than that. He said that Lake Charming is spectacular with all the natives that have grown back, as well as the beach. So everything's looking very good. And then he said, we can probably skip next year and would not see a catastrophic increase in the drag. And he said he would include the boat ramp and Lake Terrace in this assessment. So then I asked him what it was he was about about, whether he was talking about Lake, Lake Charming or the Drum Point Lake. He said he was talking about Lake Charming, and I asked him, if we don't do it next year, how many years would it take for the full regrowth to come back? I don't think we want to wait that long, but he said it would take a couple of years for regrowth to reach mature size. So the way we left it is that next summer I'll take a look and see what's what in these various places, and then every year we can decide whether we need to do that year or we should skip.
Okay.
So Bonnie, did you say that they treated the Phragmites on Lake Charming again? Because I saw that there was some that grew back.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he treated all the areas.
Okay.
So if you see some that are still there, it may not have died yet.
Okay.
Takes a couple of weeks for, I think maybe 6 weeks for it to die. And we can look at it again and see if there's anything that we think he might have missed. But he said that everything was doing very good.
What about the boat ramp? I mean, that would be, this is the first year the boat ramp was done.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to ask him more to clarify, but he said everything looked good and that we could skip a year
Okay.
and we wouldn't see a catastrophic increase. He said I would include the boat ramp and Lake Terrace in this assessment.
Oh.
So I think he's saying that looks pretty good too. Because he earlier said Lake Terrace was about 99% gone. And all the other sites are better than that. So I think he's thinking it's looking good. Now, if you see anything, maybe we can just take a photo of it. And if he can't be treated this year, but we'll include it next year if we want to bring him down for that. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, now I'll hand it over to Ginny. That's all I've got.
Okay.
Thanks.
The next Ivy League is gonna be next Saturday, the 12th. And I've chosen a Southern Calvert Land Trust lot, which is right on the corner of Beretta and Oak. And I just heard back from Kurt Larson, I just wanted to get his permission to be able to go on the lot and do it. So I'll send an email to Rhea for her to send out tomorrow.
I will not be here tomorrow, but I'll send it out Monday.
Okay.
Speaking of Ivy, I know this came up earlier, the tree that is on county property right before the sign on Overlook.
Mhm.
They came and cut about 3 little snips, but that entire tree is still just massive oak. And,
Massive oak.
not oak,
Ivy?
ivy,
Okay.
and it's dead. And when it goes, it's going on the house across the street.
And it's on county property?
Yeah,
It's on
county
Beretta?
property, and I think they actually, you called them one time and they came out, but they didn't do hardly anything to it. They didn't do it like what you all do, is to cut it all the way around the tree and cut the thick vines on it, and it's just covered now. So I don't know if maybe you can
And the tree is
get back
dead?
in touch with
The tree is actually
county.
dead?
Yeah. If we
Maybe
get
it
a
holds the
storm-
tree up.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But if we get a storm, that tree's going over.
Maybe I'll get Carl to look at it and tell me, not that we would have him take it down because it's on the radar,
Right.
but he would look at it maybe and tell me how dire it is. And then I can use his expertise when I call.
Okay, good.
And I did go out and remove it from the tree out here.
Yeah.
Tried to remove it from the tree on the side here, but it's hard to, the access is really hard for me to get around it, so I did what I could do.
I haven't done it yet, but I'll talk to Joe, see about him, trimming away from that one so you can get to it.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Do you have anything, updates on safety or committee or what we need to?
Yeah, kind of like you, I took some time off. It took me a month to get over COVID, and then I was gone for 2 weeks. So I've really been lagging, but my weeks are getting freer, so I'm gonna get back in and start ordering the supplies we need for the to-go bags.
Okay. So you need to delay the safety committee,
I will say let it go as it is. I sent out emails and only one person responded, and he wanted off, but nobody else responded, so I'd say let's just, let it go as it is right now, as it stands.
but you said one person doesn't.
No, and I told you it wasn't, right now I don't remember who it was.
Yeah,
I wanna-
Cooley, Chris Cooley? No.
I don't remember, it's in my notes, but I don't,
Yeah.
yeah, just one. Nobody else responded to the emails, except for Gary, of course, and Gary's on it,
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
So should we wait and reaffirm it next time, once we figure out that man's name? Or-
Yeah, if we can't reaffirm it now, then we can wait until next month and I can let you know who it is, he's the only one that's off of it.
I think you could,
Go ahead and.
if you know who it is, and
Yeah.
it's just a matter of supplying a name, let's go ahead and do it.
I say that's the best thing.
So we need a motion, I think, to do that.
I'll make a motion that we reaffirm the committee, the safety
Is there a
committee.
second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Okay. Welcoming committee?
I've distributed 4 buckets in the last month or so. I've got 3 on hand. And Cindy, Andre bought a bunch of stuff for the snacks and all. So they're in the back, and we've got the supplies, except I do need to go down and restock our brochures. So if you guys want to figure out one day next week, if to get together. it's
Yeah, you
not
wanna
real
just let us
urgent.
know when you get the brochures,
Yeah.
and then we can do it from there.
Okay, yep, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay. All right, on the planning committee beach erosion project, they had to put out like a public notice, and I haven't heard anything. I need to follow up with them now that I'm back and see where all that's at, and maybe when I call Mel on this other issue, I'll ask her. The only other thing is there's I think I signed up for, there's a webinar on Friday about loans. So I'm gonna try to call into that on Friday and see if there's anything to learn from that. They did suggest, when they turned down our grant, that we might qualify for like a no-interest loan, state loan, so that would just help us with the finance part of it.
Who's doing the webinar? Who is doing the webinar?
It's a, part of the environmental, like NDE or. That's all I have on that. I've already done a committee. Quit claim,
Yeah, I sent that to everybody by email. This is just another, same kind of quitclaim that we've had. This is on, what is this?
Deer Drive.
Thank you, Deer Drive. Is that
Did they say why or anything? Usually they tell us why they want to do this, but,
Just for future, if they need to.
okay, so they have
do anything,
nothing,
They just want.
nothing
advice.
going on right now.
These are newer owners, and they just wanted to, that was actually part of their, not a requirement, but, request for information before they actually would purchase. What if we want to do something?
Is that the house that was just sold?
Quite recently, I can't,
Was it Gagnon's house?
no,
No.
Ganyon's, unless it's like another owner past Ganyon, and
Yeah.
it's
Well,
sold
another,
again.
Winecoop bought Gagnon's house,
So it might be the one,
but then Winecoop's
oh,
recently sold
it might be that one then,
it. Okay.
yeah.
Well, if it is, I think the reason why they want this is that the one that has a shared dock?
Oh, I have no
Okay.
idea. I don't know.
And if it is, I think that's probably why, because they want to build their own dock eventually.
Maybe so, maybe so. I know that was sort of just a
Could be. I don't
question they had
remember.
before they would finalize the deal to buy it. Because the realtor called me and I explained, well, this is what they'll need our quitclaim for repair.
Who was the realtor? Was it Julie Fuller?
I don't
Okay. I know, you were asking why, and if it is that property, then that's probably why.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because when that one goes bad, then they don't want to deal with the
Have to
neighborhood,
worry
they would
about
do
it,
their own.
yeah.
But that's the
Have that
most
lined up.
recent sale I can think of there on waterfront,
I mean,
that part.
they were my clients, and so, when I retired, I gave it to Julie, and that's the only one I can think of over there on Julie.
Okay, any opposition on the repairing, you wanna make a motion to approve it, or
I'll make a motion to accept
a
it.
second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I'll sign my life away again.
Sorry. As I had to memorize it. Where is it? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. All right. Guess the last thing was, well, next to the last thing, formation of nominating committee. We there again?
Yes, yeah, and I don't even know who was on it last year. I think it was sort of.
Kirk?
Oh, yeah, I think it was.
Did you have Libby on it?
I think it was Libby and Kurt, you're right.
Libby
Yeah,
Yeah,
Libby Fall.
and Kirk and so what's our timeline on this?
It's announced at the December meeting, the nominating committee,
Who the committee is?
who's just who the committee is, and does anybody else want to be on the committee?
Okay.
You know?
Well, can you check with Kirk and see if he and or Libby or anybody else, any other victim?
Now, if you put it that way.
None of us can be on it, right?
I don't think so. Thank God for that.
Man, you got ding from above.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, I'll talk to you.
all right. Anybody else have any other business?
All right, yeah, going back to the planning committee, you all remember, a couple months ago, my husband came to the meeting.
Yeah,
And he was asking this evening, he was thinking that we'd like to go forward with this, but we thought, were you the one that said that you'd be glad to help, or am I dreaming?
No, I'm probably glad to help with anything.
Okay.
So, yeah, okay, first of all, you make sure that somebody gets with me about cleaning up that house up there.
Yeah, it's on my list.
And, yeah, what was, okay, I don't remember, but I said I'd be more than willing to
Okay.
help with anything, so.
So, I can just get your contact information and give it to him, that'll be good, so, that's all.
okay. Anything else? Anybody?
The only thing I was gonna say is, remember, were you at the membership meeting? I don't think you were. Because somebody else also asked about playgrounds. And we explained that we had looked into it, kind of dismissed it, the idea, because of liability and so on. But there's a woman, and I can send you her name, who's gonna kind of spearhead the idea of maybe trying to do that again.
Oh, I'm sorry, doing what?
Playground, a
Oh,
playground. So that would be something maybe that would fit in with what John was
Yeah, I was at the
thinking of.
meeting. Yeah, I
Oh, you
remember.
were?
Yes,
Yeah,
because there was a big discussion.
Oh, yeah. But there are, there are a lot of young families, so it would be
There
nice
really
to
are.
have one
There
if
are,
you can
absolutely.
somehow do it and do it properly.
But the
There's so many kids
liability
out
was
trick
the
or treating
issue.
this
Oh,
year.
yeah,
Just
there really was.
Yeah.
4 or 5 times as many as
Yeah,
last
that's
time.
what we
Really?
noticed too, yeah, there really was. Which is a good, I mean, I think it's a great
Oh, yeah.
sign,
Well,
yeah.
maybe with this new attorney, she'll have some different ideas. I don't know.
Well, I don't even know that we, did we consult?
Well, we looked
Tom
at
Schumer about
other.
it? It was a webinar that I had attended.
Yeah, and we
About
looked at
liability.
other, places that had put on, playgrounds,
Yeah.
and then there was one that was, like, one playground, and one of the homeowners association was sued for
That was the
liability, and
webinar.
I think that's,
Like $20 million,
yeah.
was it, brand new playground, but it hadn't been assembled correctly.
Yeah. And then there was the issue of, maintenance and safety
Yeah.
checks, like, you have
Right.
to measure how much, soft materials there, and.
Yeah, it isn't
every
just a
month,
question of having
and-
Joe Bateman go by and say, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's a continual thing, yeah.
You have to
So
assign,
Joe's gonna go to jail?
well, there you
Or he's
go.
gonna get sued for 20 million.
No, we are for hiring, I mean, that's the
Right.
whole point. I mean, you really, it's not just a question of just anybody looking
Right.
and inspecting this stuff, they have to know what they're doing.
Yeah,
Of course, like somebody said, the ranch club has a couple,
Like, I mean,
They
churches
seem
have
to-
them, huh?
churches
They just
have,
don't.
yeah.
It doesn't make sense, there are
So
so
but this woman
many
had
of them.
offered to, you know, look into it again.
Right.
That's good, make a committee, get all these things in writing, all these
Yeah.
issues,
Yeah,
we'll see which ones we can deal with,
Yeah.
and which are deal killers.
right,
Mhm.
so, okay. I just thought maybe John could add that to his,
Sure. Yeah, send me her name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You know, of course, there's a question about where would you put it?
I know.
You know, what do we have that would accommodate that? Well, I don't think you want it at the beach because it's gonna be a mess.
Right, it's huge,
You've,
shifty.
Would you put it on this corner lot?
To do that.
I mean, you could do that, but then
Well, that was the objection, there was so much traffic between the area.
there's traffic and there's parking and
Yeah,
all that. In my experience, of course, it's been a long time since I had any rugrats around that would do playgrounds, but
yeah,
people don't tend to, the kids go to the playground that's right close by.
right,
You know,
yes.
and they're not gonna, if they're gonna drive the kid, why not drive them to the
Right.
nice Cove Point Park or something, you know, that's,
I agree.
I think we should put it on Carmen's property, across from the people that just tell them, no, get them into the yard over there and just play over there.
Right.
Mr. Kerman might have, or the Kerman family might have done it.
you know,
Thank you.
well, I can think of a number of houses around here that we could burn down and create
There
big
you go.
lots for
There you go.
nice playgrounds, but
You
anyway.
wanna go there and Chestnut?
Oh, yeah, I think we discussed a few of
Say
them.
Is that recorded?
It was recorded, and I'm not smart enough to get that out of the middle.
I have a feeling, I have a feeling this playground issue is just gonna go around and around and around, and I think we're gonna come up with the same conclusions, but we've gotta do it.
Yeah, I think so.
Gotta take another look at it, but,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there was also, I think, some talk at the meeting about having a series of 5 or 6 little ones in different parts of the community, because like you
Yeah.
say, it's pretty far, you're not gonna walk through it.
Right,
So I don't,
yeah, that would make sense, you know, if you
Didn't have
have,
the cost and the upkeep, yeah.
right,
well, and the association owns 47 now vacant lots, I think. So you could look around to see
mhm,
where we might do that, but so many of the properties we own are on like ravines. They're not
Right.
like,
No.
they're not like this, they're
Yeah.
not like that,
Right.
so I'm not sure. I like Mike's idea.
yeah, yeah. Okay, you're on
Solve
tape
2
too.
problems
Yeah.
through one.
Right. We get charged with arson,
Hey.
and the next place burns down. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, actually, there is one thing I just remembered. Remember there was that issue about kids playing in the street? And I had contacted Ananya Fine, I believe her name was. I talked to Rhea about this, and she never got back to me, but she said she was the one who was talking about doing something about it in the committee, and Mike, you said, well, are you volunteering? And so that thing just never went anywhere, but if she's interested in just having a group that wants to investigate what to be done about it, I'm not sure anything can be done about it, but if that's an issue that people want to see work, I can get back in touch, try to get back in touch with her. And Crystal Cully, who said she would help, because she's got a vested interest. So do we want to pursue this?
Well, I think Ananya is the one who had said she would also,
Yeah.
about playgrounds. I think
Oh,
that's
did she?
right.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Yeah.
There were
okay.
several younger women over there.
She never responded. I sent her an email, and I've never heard back from her, so maybe I just have to bug her some more.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if there's a solution to the problem, except that everybody has to be more vigilant. Parents have to watch their kids, and drivers have to drive more slowly.
Well, that's the letter that I sent to Sheriff Evans. I
Right.
sent it out the next day because Mike was going out of town and I wanted him to sign it. So it went out like the next day or maybe the day after. And I invited him or one of his deputies to the next membership meeting so they could
Oh, yeah.
respond to some of these questions.
Oh,
I don't know that
That'd be
there
good.
is anything that we can do.
Did you get an answer?
No, I
He's
had no
not gonna
response.
respond,
Well,
because with the election, they're not.
Well, then he
making
needs to
any
pass it
decisions.
along to somebody who
Yeah,
knows.
Well, I've noticed a difference since the meeting. that, there has not been as much activity in front of that house, so
Oh,
maybe they
yeah.
took,
Mhm.
you
Took it to
know,
heart,
took it to
yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
Cause there was a lot beforehand, and not much going on after.
Well, and I also kind of misspoke. I said that you can't post under 25 miles an hour. I think, and this is one of the questions I asked, but don't know yet, I think what it actually is that you can post it at 10 or 15 miles
That's
per
what you
hour.
said.
But it's not enforceable.
That is what you
that what I
said.
said?
That is what
Oh,
you
good.
said.
Yay.
Yeah, you said that.
So, okay, and that's the problem. Why are you gonna sit as a deputy and write a ticket and then have to go to court, spend your off time, and then have it thrown out? I wouldn't either.
Well, it's just a matter of catching people's attention, I guess. That's it.
Yeah, trying to-
Well, and it might,
Yeah.
and that's true. But in my mind, somebody's gonna travel 40 miles an hour down the lake is probably not gonna listen and look at a sign and say, oh, I should slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does make sense to have one there, cause there is one, you know, I know it's Beretta's not ours, but
Yeah.
there is one when you come around Beretta's.
Yeah, and actually, we did put, at the top of Lake Place and at the Causeway side of Lake Place, slow down 10 miles an hour. We did do that. So, just recently.
And I know we've talked about speed bumps before, but in the Bethesda community here, they put up these things called, I think they're called speed plateaus, where they're just very gradual, low rises, you know, anything to just catch people's attention. I mean, if you're going 45 miles, it probably would be uncomfortable to go over even one of these
Yeah.
speed plateaus, but at least, you know, you're aware that something's happening. I don't know the answer to all this is, other than what we just talked
So
about.
isn't that what Ananya Fine was going to kind of spearhead getting these different ideas together and feasibility?
Yeah, and that's why I, you know, when I talked to her about getting her email information, I did send her an email, and she never came back, so maybe we just have to, maybe I will just bug her pleasantly some more,
Yeah.
see if she's interested in doing something. Because Mike, you kind of said to her, are you volunteering? I remember that, and I mean, I kind of assumed that she would.
Yeah, I mean, one thing would be a good starting point on the question of these speed, or traffic calming devices. Is what do they cost?
Oh, yeah.
You know, get a starting point would help. Okay, if you're considering that, what's the cost involved?
Yeah. You know, things that blink, that she would be going too fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we have to consider that as well.
And
Yeah.
where are we gonna put them?
Right, and where, and
How,
all that.
how many?
Yeah,
And I don't know how many such blind spots we have in the community, but I imagine there are several. We have a lot of windy roads.
We do.
Okay, that's all I've got on that.
okay. All right, well, I've got December 6th would be our normal next meeting. Okay.
That
Okay.
works for me.
Okay. We'll make it December 6th. Okay, at 6:30.
And what time is the general meeting on the 17th?
I think it's a Saturday morning, so 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, that one. So now,
Does that mean I have to do another newsletter?
I'm so glad you thought of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, if I didn't, you would, so.
True.
Okay, I think we're adjourned.